can't believe that if, in fact, we had 818 last year, that we'd only be at 169, no matter how you did it. That's incorrect. Maybe we didn't do 818, well, we didn't, because what it did.
It's gonna be somewhere around 200
Oh, we did the same
here.
thing
It did the
there.
same thing
Yeah.
there.
You can't go by that.
So,
Well,
this
I
is
mean,
something we need to look
this
at,
is-
but
this
we
is
need to look
the-
at it right.
This has more to do with, if we're gonna keep the planning process going, we gotta rewrite these regs. That's gonna take a little time. You know, and it's gonna take a lot of time, it's gonna take a little calendar time, it's gonna take a lot of somebody's personal, you know, work time. And, that's kind of what, if we wanna look at doing this or not, you know, that's kind of what we're here asking.
I guess one of the questions, because I was on the board the other day in the meeting, one of my big concerns is where does the court want to direct the county, or which way do we want to go? We sat there for 4 hours, and basically we just discussed driveways and subdivision, part of subdivision. But my main thing is we sit in these meetings and go through all this time and effort to get things changed. Is the court wanting to do the changes? I guess that's where I want to look at it. And the problem is, it's getting where the commissioners don't have time to do driveways or inspect driveways or different stuff like that. Are we willing to hire somebody to do that?
But it's something we're gonna have to look at. You know, I have, I think, 36 subdivisions. With 6 guys, there's no way in the world that I can keep up with that. You'd have to have somebody you devoted to that 100%.
Well, and Paul has all this oil field going on, so he's got all those to do. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
And I counted my permit, driveway permit, just in off-field from October till now. I got over 50 of them just in off-field permit. That's not including the subdivisions or residential. You know, so I guess the big question I have to the court is, do we want to go forward? You know, do we, and what I mean by that is, if we hire somebody and it goes to legal action, you know, where it goes to the county attorney's office, you know, are we willing to stand behind it and go forward with it? Or we're gonna say, well, no, this guy's gonna get a break and that one ain't, you know? That's where I wanna look at. You know, we gotta be square across the board when we go forward with it.
I think we need to consider it. That's my opinion. I think we need numbers that we can look at, that we can identify with over here. In subdivisions, as you're aware, Commissioner, the new subdivisions, the way we have it set up, the engineer indicates what size culvert is needed in the new subdivisions. So when you come in, it's either you don't need a culvert, or if you do, it needs to be at least this size. That's the brand new subdivisions. All the other subdivisions, that doesn't happen. I have a situation right now in reserve at Legacy that we're trying to work through, and some of the problem has to do with the fact that we have culverts put in that were not large enough to carry the water. And that happens pretty regularly.
And that was a big part of our conversation that day, was that now we got somebody who's going out there and checking it when it's being put in. And that's one of the discussions Paul and I had during
That's
this
a
meeting
full-time
about.
job.
That's a full-time job. Well, we're at budget time right now. We gotta get into Tom and say, look, here's what we'll bring in, here's other duties this person could do, as well as, to augment if, you know, if permitting doesn't pay for it.
So,
And possibly go up a little bit on the driveway permit.
well, with the permitting, it might pay for itself, right?
That's right, that's what I'm trying to get at, that's what Paul and I discussed was, okay, if that person, I gotta add one more person in my office anyway this year as a health inspector, part because Greg's retiring and Mike's moving over to the septic, so I'm gonna have to hire a health inspector. Well, we think that that's gonna be too much work for one person. In other words, a driveway a day, let's just use that number, driveway a day. Because we're gonna get somewhere around 300 driveways. Because even if you add these numbers up, you're gonna come close to that for the year. So you're looking at a driveway a day, a health inspection a day, plus the permitting process, plus going through going through the paperwork in the system, and going out there more than once.
And talking to
Yeah.
them. In terms of, if you ever have to enforce the regs against a citizen, somebody has to talk face to face with them, which may mean 5 trips out there before you get them. I mean, we send proper notices too, in writing, but you really, before you take any kind of legal action, you need to talk to them.
You know, just another thing that we discussed a little bit on is like in my area alone, we have these RV people putting in these RV parks illegal, you know? And the only way we're caught was by me or one of my guys, you know? You can't expect Edwin to go around, you know, right now with the people he has, you know, this person could also do that, you know? And it takes a lot of follow-up. I know they've been working on one for probably about 3 months.
6 months, since the first of the year.
Yeah. You know, and are we willing to, like I said, do we want to move forward with this, you know?
I think it's something that we need to consider. I think the issue is gonna be the budget and, you know, it's how much we can get in the bag. But I think we're to the point to where that's something that we need to take a look at. And if we can take the funds from driveway permits, if that's what this person is going to do, and dedicate those to the individual, then that would help offset. I don't think it would pay for everything, but it would help offset. And obviously it could help eliminate problems down the road where you have to get into engineering charges and everything else.
Leanne had,
But I would like to see the real numbers.
we'll get those out to you all today. Leanne commented that, you know, the development permits, there's money there for that, you know, a little bit meant the going out compliance with these RV parks and the, you know, if we have any man cams, even somewhat in the subdivision, you know. So that's part of what that money goes to.
So you wanna go forward with it, or?
Are we wasting our time, or is this something we need to keep looking at and dealing with?
I think it's something that we need to look at. I think it's something that we need to consider in the budget. The issue from here, again, is that I want to see the real numbers so that I can draw some percentage comparisons. And then you're going to have to indicate to Tom, if we're going to bring someone like that in, what's it going to cost us to get that individual, so that we can work those numbers up.
Yeah.
A lot of the monies that we're talking about, it's obviously, it's not like they're just sitting there. They come in, they're used by Leanne's department or whatever, but the remainder goes into the general fund. And so the issue in the end is, yes, from my standpoint, I don't know that Ricky has lots of subdivisions. I don't know which one has the most, but we have a lot. And he may be able to stay on top of it. Quite frankly, I can't.
Yeah. Well, so far what we've talked about are the undeveloped properties. Now, because if the driveway permitting is in the subdivision regs, we have to go, it doesn't matter if it was built, the subdivision was platted 20 years ago or not, that's the rule we have to go by is there. If it's across the county, a blanket layer over the county, then maybe not, that's something we'll have to talk about.
Yeah, but in a lot of those instances, if somebody comes in and does that, you know, if we have an expert who says, you know, you need a 24-inch culvert, or you don't need to put a culvert there,
Right.
they're gonna listen to them.
Yeah.
So you can bring up some numbers and, we're gonna have a budget workshop.
When?
We can present it in a budget workshop.
Is there a date set for it yet?
Friday.
Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday.
Today's Monday.
Yeah.
What time?
9.
9? Okay.
So I think the issue would, in my opinion, just me, would be getting with Tom and saying, look, if we're gonna go forward with this person, here's what I think it's gonna cost us per year for that individual. All the other stuff, he'll be able to come up with from there, and then we can consider it. And I think the time is here.
Yeah.
I don't know if the money's here, but I think the time is here.
Is he gonna need a vehicle also?
Yep.
Well, we'll work through the vehicle deal for now. I think the sheriff still has an extra one that we use as a floater. And so, you know,
Ricky's got one too.
you know, you gotta keep in mind when some of the other discussions that we've had in there is when all this permitting needs to start,
Yep.
you know.
Because one of the things we also discussed is that, you know, and I saw where I don't know if we can do that, Kathy, is on working with the other utility company, you know, making sure they get, one of the biggest things I see is, you know, the driveway is the last thing they go get a permit for.
And a second.
Yes, and to me, that should be the first thing they get.
And I addressed that in one of those envelopes.
I think that would be-
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I got an email from her Friday.
And that's, again, that should be addressed real
We're gonna have to have enforcement to make that work.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's the other aspect of it. I figure 4 hours per permit for all the stuff, 4 man hours. And that's when we don't have big problems. There's times when there may be 40 man hours attending to one of the problems.
If we find this individual, if we fund it, that's gonna be a busy position.
Oh, yeah. I think they're all about keeping it.
All right. Number 20, minute.
Yes. I didn't get to finish it now.
You're going to take this as just discussion.
I looked for the original.
And this is gonna take a minute.
Yes, it will. This is your original.
This one's pretty simple.
And then one quick change. When I was in school in Frisco, we now need to do minutes whenever we do the executive session. And what you do in the executive session is you just tell the subject matter that you spoke of, like you would on the agenda. And that's it. And there is nothing else. But I think that what it does, it ties on our tape, and you're supposed to keep it with your tape like this, so that whenever, if you were called into a court of law, they would know what it was about, instead of me just writing it on
That's
here.
a new law?
Yeah, or you just keep it, and that's it. It basically, to me, it's a little like an index, that's all it is, and you don't, might have this in the month. Now I handed out the regular ones. Okay, and then we'll just type your name.
Everybody review the minutes?
Any changes?
No changes? Need a motion? Commissioner Morales, second Commissioner White, all in favor?
All right.
See if I can go back to item number 15. I'm sorry, not 15, 5.
Five.
There's a handout.
And another extension.
Yes, and this is Jocelyn's report and Michelle's report, and they are stapled together. That's it on that. This is your copy.
21, financial report,
I'll read the next Commissioner.
no financial report. 22, payroll and personnel changes.
Okay, we have Marcus Olivo, was hired 6/25/2014, Department 420, $2,250 a month as a correction officer. We have Robert Sanchez, was hired 6/27/2014, Department 420, $2,250 a month as a correction officer. We have James Cannon, was hired 6/30/2014, Department 180, $10.50 an hour, part-time road hand, road and bridge number 4. We have Emily Lozana, was terminated 6/30/2014, Department 420 as a correction officer. Lauren Macias was terminated 7/1/2014, Department 420 as a correction officer. Amos Trevino was terminated 7/2/2014, Department 420 as a correction officer. Amos, did I read Amos already? Amos Trevino?
Yes.
Okay. Eugene Mora was terminated 7/2/2014, Department 400 as building and yard. And Aurelia Vela was hired 6/23/2014, Department 220, $13.45 an hour as the part-time clerk for the county clerk, and this is pending a ruling from TCD on this.
And basically, she's a floater. She's not somebody that comes in regularly.
That has nothing to do with
That's
the
not
law.
Oh, okay, but she wouldn't, I mean,
So that's,
Okay.
we have to send stuff to TCDRS.
Okay.
Okay?
Need a motion? Commissioner Fowler, second. Commissioner Wiley, all in favor?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I usually check that right. Thank you.
Everybody review the bills. A motion? Commissioner Wiley, second. Commissioner Fowler, all in favor? Just to let you all know, we have a budget workshop Friday at 9 a.m. Meeting adjourned.
You weren't very fast.
Huh?
You weren't very fast this time.
No, open never happens again. Oh, but that shit all-